Good morning, boys and girls. Let's take a look at our Bible for the verse for the week. John 11:25. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. Our story this week is called Martha Grows in Faith. We're going to talk about what the word faith means. I want you to visualize a large airplane. How do you know it will take off? We know the airplane is designed to take off, and you've probably seen an airplane take off before, so you know it will take off. That means that you have faith in the plane and the people who made and operate it. When people get on a plane, they believe that the plane will do what it is designed to do. Today's lesson is about a woman who grew in her faith in Jesus. Her name was Martha. Listen as I read the story. Lazarus and his two sisters, Martha and Mary, lived in the village of Bethany near Jerusalem. Martha had welcomed Jesus and his disciples to her home, fixing them food and letting them spend time there. Jesus loved these sisters and their brother. They were special friends to him. One day when Jesus was preaching and teaching in another town, Lazarus became very sick. Mary and Martha knew Jesus had healed other people, so they sent word to Jesus to come heal him. When Jesus heard about Lazarus, he boldly declared to those around him that the sickness would not end in death. However, Lazarus died before Jesus began his journey to see Martha and Mary 2 days later. When Martha heard that Jesus was on his way, she met him just outside of town. She knew that if Jesus had been there while Lazarus was alive, her brother would not have died. She said, Jesus, I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who came to the world. She trusted Jesus and had great faith in him. Martha then sent Mary to come see Jesus. Martha and other Jews who had gathered because of their sadness over Lazarus' death left Martha's house. They all met at the tomb with Jesus, and they were crying because they were so sad. Jesus began weeping as well. Then Jesus gave instruction to roll away the stone that was covering the opening of the tomb or the burial cave. Martha said, Jesus, it will stink in there because Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. But Jesus answered, Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? When the stone was removed, Jesus thanked God for hearing him days earlier when he had said that the sickness would not end in death. Jesus said this aloud so that the people nearby would believe that God had sent him. And once he finished praying, he called out with a very loud voice, Lazarus, come out! And Lazarus came out. He was still wrapped in grave clothes, strips of cloth that were wound around his body. Jesus said, Unwrap him and let him go. The sickness did not end in death after all, just as Jesus had said. Martha trusted in Jesus as the Son of God. Now she was able to see the glory of God when Lazarus was raised from the dead, and her faith in God grew even stronger. So, boys and girls, one thing I want to point out to you about this story is that this took place before Jesus was crucified and raised from the dead himself. So he has been called in from another town to help Lazarus, but he didn't make it in time. Mary and Martha were so sad that their brother died. But Jesus came to them days later and he raised Lazarus from the dead. So just as he had told them, this illness would not end in death. So Martha's faith grew. I want you to think of a time where you've had a prayer answered or something happened so special that you knew God came through for you. That helps our faith to grow. Even though we can't see him, he does things all the time to protect us, to take care of us, and to heal us. And we know that God is with us because of our faith. Today we're going to take a look at our Bible lesson, page 109. So you can pause the video and make sure you have page 109 because we're going to work on that together today. On page 109, look up mourn in the glossary. Write the definition. So in our story today, the sisters, Mary and Martha, they were mourning when Jesus arrived. And that means that they were very sad. So in that blank, we're going to write, to feel deep sadness due to someone's death or because of a loss. Pause the video if you need to complete writing the definition of mourn. Now for number 2, we're going to number the events in the order they happened. Take a moment to read. We have 7 sentences there that we're going to put in order to show how they happened in the story. Number 1, the first thing that happened, Lazarus became very sick. Martha and Mary sent word to Jesus that Lazarus was sick. Please put a 1 in the box beside that sentence to show that it happened first in our story. Number 2, Lazarus died. Jesus traveled to Martha and Mary's home. Make sure you put a number 2. That is what happens second in our story. Now we're looking for the sentence that happened third in our story. Martha told Jesus that if he had been there, Lazarus would not have died. Our fourth event is that Jesus cried and had compassion. Sentence 5, Jesus commanded that the stone be moved away from Lazarus' tomb. Number 6, Jesus thanked God and called for Lazarus to come out of the tomb. Lazarus came out of his grave clothes. And sentence 7, Lazarus was raised from the dead and many believed in Jesus. If you're checking your page, the order of your numbers should be 4, 5, 1, 2, 7, 3, 6. Now number 3. Read John 11:40. Write what Jesus said Martha would see if she believed. John 11:40 tells us, Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So in the blank there, we're going to write what Jesus said Martha would see if she believed. Jesus said she would see the glory of God. I want you to think about our story today and think about having faith in Jesus. If we have faith in Jesus and if we believe, just like Jesus told Martha in the story, we will also see the glory of God. What an awesome message that we have today. We are also going to take a look at page 110. You can stop this video and go back to the lesson for today to follow along for page 110.